When England's King Henry VIII broke from the Catholic Church and named himself head of the Church of England, also known as the Protestant Church, in 1536, a lot of Irish churches and monasteries paid little heed to the change. But in the early 1600s until the 1820s, laws were introduced in Ireland that severely suppressed non-Protestants. The worst of these were the penal laws that forbade Catholics and members of other faiths from owning property, holding office, establishing schools, voting, plus their churches could not display crosses or feature steeples, and they were required to pay tithes to the Protestant Church. Although these laws were eventually abolished, discrimination continued, and only a minute number of Catholics owned land or participated in politics. On the West Coast, in County Clare, conditions were especially harsh for Catholics on the Loop Head Peninsula. Not only did landowners forbid the building of churches on their property, but Marcus Keene, the local land agent, was ruthlessly committed to converting Catholics to his faith by providing aid to those who complied and punishing those who did not. Under his watch, any home hosting a mass was threatened with eviction, and attempts to use temporary structures or abandoned buildings as makeshift churches were forcibly halted. His merciless tactics prompted the press to title him Exterminator General of Clare. To make matters worse, in the mid-1800s, poor locals were faced with a cholera outbreak, and Father Michael Meehan arrived to administer last rites and bury the dead. Frustrated there was no church available, he began devising a plan to give the congregation a place to celebrate Mass. You see, there was one bit of land not held by any landlord: the no man's land on the shore between high and low tide. Father Meehan commissioned a local carpenter to build the Little Ark, a wooden room placed on wheels containing an altar. The unique cart could be rolled onto the beach when the tide was low. After people turned up in droves for Mass at the Little Ark, Marcus Keene led the effort to bring charges against the priest for instigating a public nuisance. But since no laws were broken, the case was dismissed, and for 5 years, hundreds of faithful parishioners gathered around the Little Ark to attend masses, weddings, funerals, and baptisms by the sea at Kilbaha. Finally, permission was granted to build a permanent church in nearby Moneen. In 1858, it was dedicated Our Lady, Star of the Sea. But even today, it's still known as the Church of the Little Ark. That's because inside the church, in a side annex, resides the original Little Ark. Guests are invited to inspect the structure and its altar. Also, above the front door of the church, visitors are greeted by a stained glass window depicting the history, and inside the church, monuments honor Father Meehan and his service to the people of Loop Head. And on a side note, Father Meehan's nephew was actor Richard Harris, who you might recognize as Dumbledore in the first 2 Harry Potter films. By the way, the nearby Cliffs of Moher also made a guest appearance in Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Harris received his 2nd Academy Award nomination for his role in The Field, which was filmed just north of Clare in counties Galway and Mayo, and statues commemorating the actor have been placed in Kilkee and in Limerick, which is where he was born and raised. When you visit the Little Ark, there's plenty to see and do. Explore the wild Atlantic Way, with stops at the crescent-shaped Golden Sand Beach in Kilkee or the rocky formations known as the Bridges of Ross. There's also historic Loop Head Lighthouse, offering tours that go all the way to the top of the tower. Plus, there's the ruins of Carrickholt Castle, which has ties to the Spanish Armada, and County Clare is home to several of Ireland's great golf courses, including the famed links courses at Doonbeg and Lahinch. If you're in the neighborhood, there's always the dramatic Cliffs of Moher and the enchanting medieval town of Ennis. Meanwhile, the climber to Tarbert Ferry crosses the Shannon estuary to offer worthy detours to the Kingdom of Kerry and Limerick's fascinating and nostalgic Foynes Flying Boat Museum. I hope you enjoyed your time here at the Irish Fireside with me, Corey. You'll find more information in this video's description or at irishfireside.com, podcast episode 161. And there's a whole world of offbeat destinations waiting for you at IrelandTravelKit.com.